Hey, you listen to the Royal Rant. I'm Ryan.
Tim,
It's mid-January. Things are getting serious. I had to crank out the jersey.
I know I should have worn my jersey, man.
It's okay. We'll start out with just one, and then if things continue like this, we'll have to double up with double jersey power.
Then hats,
Then hats,
then
maybe scarf,
scarf, poncho. Uh,
an official LA Kings ukulele. I don't know, whatever it takes. Um, so I'm gonna give you a number. Tell me what it refers to. 14.9. It's actually a percentage, not a number. That's kind of a number. I don't know, whatever, math. 14.9. What do you think it refers to in terms of the Kings?
um, I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what it is.
Is
It's the
that their
power play
power play?
percentage. It's
Or
the power play.
you know, I,
14.9. Do you know where that ranks in the league, mon frère?
is that has to be dead last, right?
Almost 29th.
20. Okay,
Only three teams have a worse power play than these guys. That would be the Boston Bruins,
that's kind of
the
surprising.
Mighty Ducks of Anaheim of Los Angeles,
That's not
and
surprising.
the New York Islanders. Okay? That right there, I mean, to me, like, I know we talked about it last time, but to me, that's really the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can talk about, well, what about the 11-7 or how many minutes will Doughty have? Where it's like, well, if you if your power play is under 15%, what are we even talking about? You're not going to beat anybody in the Western Conference in the first round, let alone the Oilers, right?
No, it's so bad, and no, that's the thing too. Is like no one expects anything from it. Like fans, like everyone knows, like they're not gonna score. It you remember we talked about this last season a lot. Like, I wish they could like just decline the penalty and stay 5-on-5. I
That
really
was
wish.
funny a couple of seasons ago or whatever,
Yeah,
but now it's like, man,
but it's even more prevalent, or it's even more appropriate because yeah, it's you just know they're not going to be able to convert, and it has to like fuck with the team mentally too. I mean,
it's
you
totally
know,
it's totally demoralizing. I mean, that's
yeah.
what happened in the Calgary game.
Hmm.
They had a good first period and they couldn't, they scored one goal and they could have had two or three, but they couldn't score on the power play. And that gave
Hmm.
Calgary a bunch of mojo and they came back and won that game.
Yeah, and they
Same thing against the Oilers the other night. I
should
mean,
have had.
they gave up one goal that you should be able to win that game, but not if you can never score on the power play.
Yeah, they gave up one 4-on-4, and
Right.
yeah,
So,
that
and it's true, they look okay. They look pretty good, 5-on-5 most of the time. And it's true that, they're 14-2 at home. That's too many games to just say it's a fluke. But this power play is like more than concerning. I mean, to me, it's like it's the writing on the wall. It's like you're not beating the Oilers in the first
well,
round like that. No
yeah,
way.
it makes it hard to be confident about them going into the playoffs. Yeah, for sure. But you know what? Having said that, though, these two games against the Oilers this season, I don't think I have. Um, I'm more hopeful playing them in the playoffs than I've ever been the last few seasons. They don't look as good to me. Um, I'm
Yeah.
not sure why. Maybe they don't have the depth they used to. Maybe not having Kane in the lineup too, because he's kind of, an agitator. He scores goals. He's real
Yeah, I think he's
physical.
gonna be back.
Oh, really?
I,
So
I read
that's not good.
about him.
But
I think he's
I
on the
hope.
way back. Yeah, I know. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I was reading David Staples in the Edmonton Journal, and he had this to say about Adrian Kempe. Uh, Called him a dangerous player. Here it is about that slew foot, right? I don't know if you saw that or what you think. Kempe got fined $5,000, because somebody from Edmonton probably called the league office and was like, "Did you see what he did to McDavid? Someone's
Yeah.
got to do something."
Yeah.
And so this guy's like, the law of the jungle in the NHL is simple. The notion being that if the league does not properly punish violent players like Kempe, then crime pays. It pays to sleuth at McDavid if there's no suspension attached.
But
And I'm
what
just
a
thinking,
bunch of
like,
bullshit.
violent Kempe is a violent player. Like, what? Have you ever, like, other than the Edmonton media, I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about Kempe being a violent player.
No, of course not. That's what
But man, and it's just, I mean, I know everybody, every market's like that, and I'm sure the Kings media is guilty of it too. But it's like they never recognize just how dirty Draisaitl is, for example,
or McDavid.
or
McDavid's dirty as
McDavid
hell.
himself. I mean, he
They
gets away with a lot of chippy stuff.
they played Minnesota tonight, and he stuck out his elbow going by. I can't remember the player, the Minnesota player. He stuck his elbow out and clipped him, and it wasn't the guy totally dived and made it look more than it was, but it was a totally dirty thing to do. And he stuck his elbow out to clip him up high. And let's talk about the hit on the Ferrier. That was,
Yes,
into the boards, targeting his head, and Laferriere sticks up for himself and dumps him on his ass, which he should have done. Now let's be honest, right?
exactly.
Let's be honest. The Oilers, they made the Kings their bitch the last 3 seasons, right? And they bullied us. And why'd we get Edmondson? Why'd we get Juneau? Why we bring in Burrows? Why do we keep England around, right? So we don't get bullied by the fucking Oilers. And what does Hiller do? And I've been like a big Hiller supporter. He benches him the rest of the game for sticking up for himself. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, and that's the other thing too, is like, it sends a message of one, like, we're not going to stick up for ourselves, and two, we are so terrified of Edmonton's power play that we will never do anything physical, like, we'll never stand up for ourselves because we were so scared to, you know, wind up shorthanded. So and then it comes out today that Lafreniere has an upper body injury. So I don't know if he got hits, or I don't know if they knew he was injured, and that's why they kept him on the bench and they didn't play him, kind of like they did with Edmondson and Tampa, the Tampa game at Crypto. And you're just like, well, okay, so you don't know what really happened, but Hiller said that was the penalty that Lafreniere took was really bad, and it was the worst or worst part of the game, or yeah, the worst moment of the game. And I'm like,
Out.
no, the worst moment of the game is when Moore is out there and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and he just watches, that puck end up on McDavid's stick and go in. That was the worst part of the game. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a weird. It was weird because it's like, on one hand, I felt like, well, the Oilers didn't look as good as they have been to me, but it's like, are we just gonna let them bully us again? And you know,
Yeah, it's not the physicality that I'm worried
no, it's
about.
it's
I think they're in a better place physically, you know, going into, if they end up playing them again, it's the special teams. It's just
oh
like,
yeah. Well, no,
um,
you're not gonna go far in the playoffs with, what was it, a 14 point.
14.9,
Well,
29th in
yeah,
the league.
yeah,
I
you're not gonna
mean,
go far. No.
you know,
Mm-mm.
that's the only team in the Western Conference that has a worse power play. It's the Ducks.
Mm-mm.
If you take out Boston and the Islanders, it's like, think
Mm-mm.
about that. It's like, the Ducks are a train wreck right now, right?
Mm-mm.
And the Kings power play is just slightly better than theirs. And it's frustrating because it's not like this is a new thing.
Mm-mm.
It just seems to be getting worse and worse.
Mm-mm.
And it has a huge impact, really. It's one of the one of the most, unless you can just somehow be so disciplined that you never are in the penalty box.
Which is not possible.
Or, that it's, I mean, the penalty kill is fine. It's the power play. So, I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it's so deflating that, yeah, you wish you could decline it like in the NFL, like you were saying. It's
No,
really
yeah.
true because
Mm-hmm.
it's just such an energy boost, you have the Kings. I mean, they were just piling shots on the Flames. And they've had these games where they'll just have close to 20 shots in the first period, maybe have like
Yeah.
a 1-0 lead because they can't score on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are, if you're out shooting somebody that badly, you're in their zone a lot, they're going to take some penalties,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
No.
you just keep teams in games that they shouldn't be in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and when you just let them hang around, it's like anything, anything from sports or even boxing. You just let somebody hang around, you don't put them away,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
you're gonna
start backing
lose.
off, and yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
That. Yeah, because the Calgary game should have been over with in the first.
they
But.
should have been up 3-0 when they went in the
Mm-hmm.
intermission,
Mm-hmm.
or at least two.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then you're squandering these incredible games from Kemper.
No. Yeah. He played.
You know,
Yeah, he played so well in
guy's
Edmonton,
playing
and
out of his mind.
yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the other thing that I was kind of felt positive about too. Is like I think Kemper, we definitely have better goaltending than we did last year for sure. You know,
Yeah, I suppose if he's in this kind of form, in
yeah, if he
April,
could stay that way and stay healthy and
he can
stuff.
steal a game or two, maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe you get
But
out of
yeah,
the first round. Maybe you do.
you
But
think they should have.
yeah, more. I mean, what do you think is wrong with him?
Um. Well, it's just it's kind of passive. It's predictable too. Um.
The power
Another.
play?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I was asking about Moore. Like, what is wrong with Trevor
Oh,
Moore?
but more. I sorry, I misheard you. More. Yeah, I don't know. Even before he got injured, he didn't really seem. He wasn't really playing that well, and then he was out for a while with injury and come back, and he just. Yeah, he doesn't look comfortable out there at all.
Yeah,
He
I
looks.
wanted just some. He hasn't really gotten over his injuries
Mm-hmm.
because I mean he was like one of the top offensive players,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and he was dangerous on the penalty kill. Looking for shorthanders. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it seems strange that his game's just fallen off to that point.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
and that's the thing.
hopefully. I mean, they need him to. That would be a boost if he could get back to the way he looked last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, they really need that whole line. You know.
Because here's another number I'm going to give you: 121. What does that refer to on the Kings?
Boy, I'm not sure.
Goals for. So they've scored 121 goals. There's only a couple of teams in the Western Conference. I think the Sharks have scored fewer goals than that. I think the Flames, but I mean, once again, it's like, man, they have enough trouble as it is scoring 5-on-5, and then when you just compound it with that abysmal power play, you know, that is a thing that I'm worried about too. Just losing 1-0 games in the playoffs because of this.
Yeah. No, yeah,
And there just needs
I
to
could see
be.
that
I
too.
think. I guess I wasn't counting on Byfield's points and production to fall off the table.
Yeah, to me, he's looking more like just like and maybe I don't know if that's the way they want him to play, but he's more just like a sort of like a energy, like a third line energy center who's just all over the ice. Like I
It's
don't
not great for
know.
a second round pick. I mean, a
Yes,
second
exactly.
overall first rounder.
Yeah, that's kind of what he looks like.
Man,
Um,
that's not
I
good.
hope not. I mean,
I
I
mean, he had
definitely
that
hope.
little spurt there where he scored a bunch of goals.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna score 20 goals this season.
He's not really on pace for it.
Yeah, so that really sucks. Fiala, oh, so yeah, so I don't know, I think, yeah, I don't know, if Byfield's gonna live up to their expectations or what everyone's expectations were of him. I don't know, or if it's just a mental thing, or if they want him to play a way he's not comfortable in. But to me, when he's out there, sometimes he just kind of reminds me of like, you know, not maybe a top six guy.
to his credit, like, he'll make some great plays. Like he'll bring the puck into the zone, create some chances or whatever. If it goes back the other way, like he'll skate his ass off to go back and break up plays the other way, Byfield,
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
see him do that a lot.
Hmm.
Um, occasionally is he hitting guys more a little bit than last year?
Maybe, yeah, maybe a little
Maybe
bit.
slightly. But for his size,
No, yeah, he doesn't really. He's not a bruiser or anything like that.
it's a frustrating.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I was looking at that article from that journalist, that sports writer in Edmonton, and I saw some of the comments, and some of the fans were like, "Yeah, we'll beat the Kings again," or "I don't want to play them 4 times in a row, not because I think they'll beat us, but because it's boring. They play boring hockey." Is there some credence to that? Do the Kings play boring hockey? They kind of do, don't they?
Yeah, well, it was getting exciting for a while, you
Yeah,
know, but yeah, no, yeah, it is kind of the games aren't as fun as they used to be to watch. Yeah, I mean that's true.
but
Uh,
it works in the sense that they've only allowed 100 goals, right? So
mhm.
that's
I mean,
definitely they've
the
won. They're winning games with defense,
defense, and good goaltending. Yeah. Hmm.
defense and goaltending. So
But that could get
kind
you
of how they
far.
won the Stanley Cups before.
Yeah, exactly. But with such a horrible power play, and if you're not having guys produce, who you paid big bucks for, to produce, it's yeah. That's Fiala. Remember, like, was it last season? And I think it was like Fiala was working with like a shot coach or like some sort of skills coach. I don't know. To me, his game just seems like so messed up, and he seems like he's maybe even trying to like overcorrect, or he's like kind of desperate for goals. I don't know, but it's like, man, he's been pretty disappointing this season too. So then you're like, well, who are we left with? you know, like, and that's the thing too. That's the thing too. Like, if Hiller did bench Laferriere because he was pissed that he took that penalty, it's like he's one of the only guys who occasionally scores goals. Keep his ass on the ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and his his edge is, that's part of his game. I think,
Hmm.
wasn't it the very first game, or
Yeah,
the second game of the league? He threw down, he dropped the
yeah,
gloves to somebody, and
yeah. He tossed that guy with the judo throw. I remember,
I
remember
mean,
that.
and it's a good thing.
Yeah, for
To
sure.
single that out, it just that it's not the reason they lost that game. The
Hmm.
reason they lost the game is because their power play is atrocious, and
Hmm.
it it's funny because when the Kings have a layoff of like they're not Kings games for a couple of days, like I'll watch other games, mostly Western Conference stuff, and I am just do you just do you just have your mouth agape when you watch like Vegas on the power play,
Yeah, no,
or
yeah,
and you're just like, oh my God.
yeah.
And and it's not an exaggeration. They create so many shots, you know, and they get so many shots on goal in one power play than probably the Kings do it in the entire 60 minutes of a game, right?
Hmm.
On the power play, right?
Hmm.
And it's not just Vegas. You'll watch other teams around the league, like, wow, I don't know
No,
how to, it's just, and somebody, I don't know if it was on X or somewhere, was like, how does the Kings goalie coach still have a job or whatever? And
Oh, the power play coach? Yeah.
Yeah, the power play coach. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. Like, who was who? I don't even know who's doing it now. You know, it was
I
what?
think it's fitting that we don't know who it is because
Yeah.
it's a person who's. No, I mean, obviously the guys on the ice they have to execute, but it just. Well, I think one of the things that you can definitely notice, you don't have to have like 30 years coaching experience in the NHL to see this with your own peepers, that they keep the puck on their stick way too long
Way too
compared
long.
to
Yeah.
almost any other team with a decent power play. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's just
Vegas, nobody's just sitting on the puck for like 5 seconds. I
no.
mean,
Yeah.
it's just it's on the stick, it's gone. It's on the stick, it's gone.
It's just
You
yeah.
know,
It's way too passive. Yeah. No, but when I was
I don't know I don't know how you teach that or how you because I mean you just see that you watch almost any game in the central the Jets for goodness sake. I mean they're ridiculous on the power play.
yeah.
Um,
They just
Dallas,
it's
Colorado,
always
you
like
name it. You just watch the power play and you're like, oh my god.
yeah. It's
Um,
always like safety first with them.
it doesn't
You
even look
know.
like the same sport.
No, I when I was at crypto for the Tampa Bay game and they were on the power play, you just notice like you just like just what you're saying is just like, yeah, no, that's how it should be. You see how he sent
Yeah,
that to the blue
and
line
even
just
as a
one time
fan,
back?
you feel that like there's like an intensity there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you see a team that knows what they're doing on the power play, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
it grabs your attention. You're like, holy shit,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And pucks are just whizzing by, and goalies are having to make crazy saves, and
Mm-hmm.
the PK's gas, and they can't get off the ice, and they can't make a line change,
Yeah.
and it's scary. It can be
Mm-hmm.
scary when like Kucherov and Hedman and those maniacs are just cooking, or you name it from the Western Conference. And, nobody's saying about the LA Kings, unfortunately. I don't think anybody's scared. I
No.
don't know if they're even gassed. They don't even make guys skate. I don't think out there because they're
No, they
just
make
sitting
it
on the
way
puck.
too easy. They make it way too easy. And they don't skate. They just
It's,
yeah.
I mean, it can't just be us. I mean, if you're a longtime Kings fan and you love this team and you watch that power, I mean, it's just,
That's the
it's
thing.
almost,
I don't
it's
think
almost back
anybody
to that point where when they're on the power play, it's just time to go do something else for 2 minutes.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe if you're Daryl Evans, you jump rope. I wonder if he jumps rope for 2 minutes along the ice there when they're on the power play because there's nothing to
No,
do
no,
color
yeah.
on. There's nothing to talk about really,
Mm-mm,
unless you're just into like people clearing the puck.
mm-mm.
Whew, it's tough. It's tough out there, man.
Yeah,
um,
no, it's no good.
Obviously, we're not going to get too heavy with it because with what's going on with the fires in Los Angeles, that's obviously something that's tough. And
Yeah,
obviously, we feel for everybody who's impacted by these terrible fires. It's just awful. And I saw, I think they were talking about on the telecast that the LA teams got together and donated like $8 million to relief
no,
efforts
that's
and stuff.
awesome.
And the Kings are taking donations, the Lakers and everything. So it's good to see that people are. I mean, people care that they want everything to. So we can't be too dramatic about it, but um, I don't know. I mean, it's just there's so much conflicting information. It's like 14-2 at home, but 10-10 on the road, not so great. Kemper having an awesome season, but overall the offense just not at the level you need it to
Yeah,
be. Look like
not
a
bad.
real threat, like
Mm,
um, and just this power play, and you just wonder like, well, who's the cavalry? Who's gonna come in and get this fixed? I don't know. I don't see what's gonna happen.
yeah,
And
so that
I read some things that they're I guess this is a classic Blake move. Like they're looking at maybe bringing in defensemen, for like at the trade deadline. And you're just kind of like,
They're gonna
Really?
play
I mean,
eighth game now.
I don't think this is our problem. You've only allowed 100 goals. It's January 15th. The power play probably would get shut out by the UCLA men's hockey team, 0 for 4. And you're looking at defensemen? I mean, I,
I guess they're gonna start playing eight defensemen tonight, huh?
that's like, I don't know.
Then no, if
It
that's
doesn't
true, that is just if that's
malpractice.
true, we're in big trouble.
I mean, wouldn't the idea maybe be like maybe the opposite? Maybe unload some defensemen if you think you get some type of winger who actually shoot the puck thing into the net, either 5-on-5 or preferably during a power play. Wouldn't that be more helpful?
Yeah, they
How many
need a.
defensemen do we need to have? Like 16?
That's gonna be Hiller's new lineup is all defensemen.
They haven't tried that on the power play. They've been doing like all forwards on the power play. Maybe just all
All
defensemen on the
defensemen.
power play. So that
Hey,
at
it's worth a
people.
shot. Why
Anything
not?
is worth a shot at this point, right? So that's perplexing that it continues
Well,
and
see,
nothing.
I think that's the thing. It's like I mean, they definitely need. Uh, it has to be retooled. I mean, it's just terrible. But they need somebody who's just a legit sniper, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So.
Well, that's the thing, and I think we talked about this last year, like because I think we had looked at the contenders and the percentage of those teams that have like 100-point scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the legit contenders, they have one, or if you're the Oilers, you have like two.
Mm-hmm. Or Colorado.
McDavid and Draisaitl. You have and the Kings, they haven't really. They don't. I mean, I think Kopi had 90 points one year. I think that was his highest, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
92. I think maybe he had
Mm-hmm.
90 once. Um, but with the way the game's changed, 90 points now isn't really what it was then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at some of the, guys that, 120 points, guys with 130 points and just craziness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and so the Kings don't have that. So if the secondary guys like Trevor Moore or Dano, he's not scoring. He's kind of looks more like the guy they traded for,
Mm-hmm.
Montreal. He
Mm-hmm.
never scored more than 13 goals. That was his highest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every season he's been with the Kings, he's scored way more than 13 goals. So that's what we've said before on here. Like they kind of lucked out because he's
Yeah.
given more production than could have been expected from him.
Mm-hmm.
If you did his previous numbers,
Mm-hmm. No, he
Now he's kind
definitely
of
outperformed.
the other thing about I love Dano, but I don't get why he ever should be out there on 3-on-3 in overtime.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
I mean, I know he's defensively responsible. He's
That's
good on
it.
faceoffs, but he doesn't have the wheels to be out there 3-on-3. Don't you
Yeah.
think?
No, I agree, and I think that's the whole thing. I think that's part of the reason why their power play is so bad too. Not because it's just that they're safety first, and they don't want to take like chances.
And they're using Fogle, they're using Byfield in overtime, Kempe, obviously. They're using guys that and Kopi, he's going to be out there. He doesn't, he doesn't have great speed, but he's Kopi, right?
Mm,
But Dano, I don't get that.
mm.
And when I see him out there, it scares the hell out of me. No, not because he's going to make a bad play, but just because he's not going to be able to get back. He
Yeah,
can't skate.
exactly.
with the
Mm-hmm.
guys with opposition. You know, the opposition when they're throwing like Drysdale and McDavid at you, and he. I don't know. I don't like it.
No,
Makes me
I
uncomfortable.
agree. It's
It triggers me to see Phil Dano out there in overtime.
yeah, because you're just like you're just I don't know. You're not giving yourself a chance, I think, doing something
It's
like
like
that.
when somebody accidentally organizes a Alcoholics Anonymous meeting at a Bevmo. It's just you're just asking for trouble. It's a bad idea. I know they might have a large conference area or whatever, but don't do it. Same thing with Dano. Just asking for trouble to have them out there. Asking too much. You just, I mean, you can, why not have Clark out there more? You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his skating's not super awesome, but he's got, he has a feel for when to try to make a play, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always result in a goal, but he does smart stuff that not every defenseman in the league can do. When he'll just decide, okay, I can come down from the blue line and hold this puck in, and it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
create chaos. And I'm going to, we're going to keep our forecheck going because I'm doing that, and then I'm back out to my blue line. He does stuff like that a lot
Mm-hmm.
for a rookie basically. I think they should try to trust him more with stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, we don't want to go too extreme on this team because they've lost basically after beating, the Jets and Tampa Bay. I mean, they've beaten the Jets twice this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had two tough losses, right? 1-0, got goalied by Skinner. That always hurts, those words coming out of your mouth.
I
Like, got
know, right?
goalied by Skinner. You
Yeah,
see,
and
he
and
seems
Wolf,
to save his best games for the Kings because,
yeah.
he'll just get lit up by like, I don't know, the Penguins or something. But then,
Mm-hmm.
he'll just pull a Vezina performance against the Kings. But, that's also the Kings just making it easy, like you say.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Wolf too in Calgary, he played a really good game.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely won. He kind of stole that game
Mm-hmm.
because he kept him in it, for sure. He's a good goalie, and I had no idea he was born in Gilroy.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. From
I'd
last year.
completely forgotten that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
I don't
yeah,
know
I
where. I don't
mean,
know if he was just born there and they immediately got him up to Canada or something, or if because I don't know where you. There's nowhere to play hockey in Gilroy. I mean, you have to go up to San Jose,
well, maybe that's what he was doing.
find some ice. Um, no, he's gonna. I think he's gonna be a really good goalie for a lot of years. They scored with that. But yeah, that's kind of, we don't want to, because you see people, on social media, it's like, oh my God, the Kings are frauds. And, just like, okay, come on. It's 2 games. We'll see how they play the rest of this road trip. If they go back home and they start winning again, the fraud talk is a little premature, probably.
No, I know. Like I said, I had different takeaways to coming from the Oilers game. I thought there were some positives. Yeah, but it's funny. King social media in the comments, people are like, "We're getting owned by the Oilers again." It's like we lost 1-0. It was a super close game. Like,
Well, actually, there were a few comments on that article from in Edmonton where some of the people were like, they actually were like, I don't want to play the Kings. I think they can take us this time.
yeah,
So I thought that was kind of interesting that a couple of Oiler fans made that comment because if you had to put money on it today, I mean, you wouldn't take the Kings over the Oilers, would you? And if you do, let me get in on that money, son.
well, let's see. If I wasn't no, it's not a smart bet.
Yeah, I mean, just yeah, there's just based on just the power play discrepancy alone. Like not so much
Mm-hmm.
the 5-on-5 play. I think they can hang with them 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
And even last year, to a certain extent, they did hang with them 5-on-5, but then they just got completely obliterated on the power play.
Just smoke.
They couldn't score, and Edmonton only scored. Basically one out of every power play. Remember, it was like 50% or something, 45% they were converting at. It's like never beat anybody doing that, right? So I know we're like a broken record, but it's like if that doesn't get fixed, then nothing's gonna change. But
Yeah,
um,
that's for sure.
we're gonna hang in there, Kings fans. If you're watching this on YouTube, take like 5 seconds, write a comment. I mean, in the last podcast, I realized after the fact that I had like the worst hair probably of anybody who's been on a like a media platform in the last 20 years. And nobody even roasted me in the comments. Like that would have been a perfect time to make
You
your
know,
first comment at the
my
Royal
hair,
Rant YouTube page and just said, Brian, what is going on with your hair?
my hair's looking pretty shaggy too. Someone could, go feel free, write a comment.
Yeah, or I don't know. I mean, don't hesitate to write some comments. It would make us. I would be so happy if someone roasted me in a comment.
Well,
That
see,
would
now
that
if
would
someone doesn't, it's just disrespectful.
that would make my day. Actually, it would be fantastic. But what do you think? How are they going to finish off this road trip? Are you going to win a few games or what?
I think is it Vancouver next?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they'll beat Vancouver.
they should. There's all sorts of turmoil there, and it seems
Yeah,
like
trade talks and all that.
they hate each other, and
hmm
Rick Dockett hates everyone all the time, so that probably doesn't help. And
That seems like a Rick Tocchet thing to do. That he would just hate everybody.
the Vancouver media, they hate the Canucks more than probably any other media, you
That's
know?
funny.
So it's bad. So that means they'll probably shut out the Kings.
They'll rally around
I don't know how
PPD.
many more periods are they gonna go without scoring a goal?
I don't know.
I mean, man, it's rough stuff. Well, I mean, they always have a patch like that. Now, hopefully, this one won't last.
This is true. Yeah. Hopefully they'll
As
shake it
long as
off.
some of the ones in the past have, where you're like, oh my
hmm
god, these guys are never going to win a game ever again.
hmm
No, I think they'll get off the snide, and they're going to have to figure out this power play and free Laffy. You guys should not. I mean, like you said, McDavid. In Edmonton, he can do no wrong. But I mean, if you're trying to be objective, and even though we're Kings fans, I think we can kind of be objective. The guy, when you watch him play, he does do some dirty stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
He's not like the Lady Bing candidate. I mean, he gets in an elbow when he thinks he can, when he thinks they won't call it. So
Yeah.
and like we said, I mean, he had time to kind of lay off that hit. But
Yeah.
to me, it looked like he wanted to finish that, even if that's like it head into the boards level.
Yeah. Exactly. And let's remember
That
when
was a choice. That
yeah
wasn't an accident. That wasn't like,
no
oh, he lost his footing or whatever, or a guy pushed him in. I mean, that
no
was
he
his choice. Like, I'm going to finish this hit. The guy's going down. It's a cheap hit,
yeah
right?
he
If
does
it's not
chippy stuff.
McDavid, if it's anybody else in the league, someone's probably fighting him.
No, exactly. Somebody should. That's the thing. You remember when he cross checked Kempe and right in the neck, like into the boards,
Yeah,
like right before. Was that their first or second uh playoff series with them? It was like the game or two before where that like the playoffs started. And I remember Kopitar was
yeah.
just kind of looking like, what the? I mean, he does, and like I said, he elbowed that dude tonight. I mean, he's feisty, and I don't even care. Like that's part of the game. Just don't bench a guy for doing something about it. That's stupid. That's just dumb.
Yeah, and it's also just like, come on, it'd be nice if even in the Edmonton media, to be like, okay, yeah, he's kind of chippy too sometimes.
Hmm.
I know he's the golden goose, and in that article they're talking about he's the guy that makes the league go around and all this. He's one of the most well-known athletes, even in the United States, and got a little
Let's not get
it
carried
got a little
away here.
crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's true. I suppose if McDavid were a king, we'd probably say the same stuff, I guess. You just
Yeah,
can't.
maybe.
You're too close to it to just step back and be like, well, he's kind of cheap sometimes. Dreisaitl's super cheap,
Yeah,
not with elbows and
super
stuff,
cheap.
but just constantly like slashing.
Flashing people. Yeah. When
I mean,
remember
the
when
guy. He's like the Rembrandt of like after the whistle
he
slashes
flashes? Yeah.
that a ref can't see. I mean, that's his other, and also when he's not busy scoring several goals a game, his side hustle is cheap that can't be seen by a ref. I mean, good on him.
That's
But
what I almost wondered too. Do you think Batman called Hiller and was like, bench him? You
no,
can't be
but you
doing
can
that.
bet that somebody was. I'm sure that somebody from the Oilers front office was whining to New York or whatever to get something
So
going, a
for,
fine or
yeah,
whatever. But
for Kempe.
and I'm not condoning slew footing. I hate slew footing, and I
No,
hate when guys try to do knee on knee hits. I hate that.
I think that's worse than slew footing, honestly.
It's worse, but it's worse. I mean, it's kind of in the same category, but I
Mm-hmm.
hate that. And if a king does it, I'll call it out because you can just ruin a guy's career in like 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you just can't. You can't do it. And sometimes it's more accidental.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's on purpose, it's, yeah, you should get suspended and fined. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I don't know, just calling Kempe dangerous. I mean, I remember people used to think that Brown was so dangerous, and he kind of he played on an edge and would sometimes take some runs that were kind of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Brownie.
Yeah, for sure.
It's true. Um, but he was a hard nosed dude, and, he ran through guys until there was a whistle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way, that was his game. And mostly within the rules. It wasn't like he was just some crazy goon. But
No.
they acted like in Vancouver, in Edmonton, that Brown was just some homicidal maniac on skates, right? But it'd be nice if there was just a little more objectivity with that. But that'll never happen. Not in the Canadian markets. There always seems to be this thing about the Kings are just dirty and stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure where it comes from, really.
Oh, I don't know.
And if the Kings are being dirty and you want to take them off their game, just take a penalty, make them put their power play unit out there.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll solve everything.
Exactly.
First unit, second unit,
Mm-hmm.
all defensemen,
Don't
all
matter.
forwards, maybe like
Mm-hmm.
all goalies, 5 goalies. One in net, and then 5 goalies playing up. No, I don't. You can't carry 5 goalies for the power play, I don't think. But no, they're gonna turn it around. Don't get too down. We're not gonna have this fraud talk. Not now. They're 14-2 at home. They're in third. Got a fairly decent cushion between that and the wild card spot. Although, the Flames they're getting their game together.
Yeah, they're not a
They're
bad
making
team.
a push. Vancouver, they might just miss the playoffs. Who knows? But yeah, they need to turn it around. We're gonna keep the faith. And if you're listening on Spotify, a lot of times we have a poll. Vote in it. We ask you what you think. You can leave a comment in Spotify also. And until then, you got any final thoughts, Tim?
I do not.
Go Kings, go.
Go.